Hi guys, welcome to the Secret Glory podcast, my YouTube channel, what the Lord is wanting to birth through me. I'm super excited for you guys to be here. The Lord literally told me as my first YouTube video, as my first one, it had to be me talking about my testimony, so that's what we're gonna do today. Y'all, I don't have my glasses on and I think this lighting is just kind of like hurting my eyes a little bit, but it's all good. Okay, so my testimony. I feel like one of the hardest things to talk about can be your testimony, just because there's so many things that God delivered you from, freed you from, that you don't even know where to begin. And honestly, a lot of us try to go by order, you know, from the timeline, but it's so hard. I feel like I might go everywhere, and bear with me if I do, because I've done this like in the mirror in front of my head, and I literally skipped parts. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that part. I'm like talking fast, let me breathe. Okay, so where do I begin? Obviously my birth. My parents actually had me at a very young age. They were 16 when they had me. And so I did have a mother that was a teenager and a father, obviously. So I honestly wouldn't say I grew up in any religion. Like we are Mexican, so obviously like being a Mexican, you're kind of just known and familiar with the Catholic Church. I was baptized in the Catholic Church, but I never like attended the Sunday services. I never practiced their teachings or anything. Like, I just was never a part of it like that. And let's say I think I had a pretty normal childhood. Although I don't remember if it was for a couple years, or I honestly don't remember. It did happen multiple times though. I did get molested by a girl when I was younger, and following up to that, like going into my teenage years and as a preteen, I began to have these thoughts of girls, and I would look at them inappropriately, and I didn't understand why. Like, deep down inside of me, I knew that wasn't right, and I didn't want to become a homosexual, and I didn't want to be lesbian, and I just was like, why am I going through this, like, as a girl, to look at other girls inappropriately? And I believe the Lord placed that in me at a very young age, like, no, this is not right. And it's also very generational, because my mom actually got molested by girls when she was young. She actually like liked girls as a young girl because she was molested, and I believe this is generational. Like, she got molested, I got molested, and now I know why I had these thoughts. And so now let's talk about elementary school. I had a very perverted mind. Like, I had very inappropriate thoughts. I would literally make inappropriate noises, inappropriate sounds, and my friend group was we would all joke around about it, and it was like totally fine. And you know, at that age, everyone like in my school would literally act inappropriately, so it wasn't like a weird thing. And like 6th grade, 5th grade year, I actually became super suicidal. I became suicidal because me and my best friend at the time, like, we ended up breaking up our friendship, and I loved her. She was my best friend. We would do everything together. We would talk all the time. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like it's not even worth living anymore. Like, she's my best friend. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. So I began cutting myself. But I truly believe the reason I started cutting myself and I became suicidal was because I did have this friend that was actually suicidal herself. Like, and she would cut herself, and it honestly just became this casual thing. Like, we would talk about cutting. The people who you hang out with and your friends have such a huge influence on you spiritually and physically. Me becoming suicidal did play a huge part with her being my friend. And there was also times where I thought about like even going into the kitchen and grabbing that knife and just completely slitting my wrist and just dying, but I can never bring myself to it. And I truly believe the Lord like saved me from that, because I just did not have the guts to kill myself. Like, I just didn't. And so my 6th grade year, my mom actually began to want to find out who Jesus and who God was for herself. So we actually started going to church, and I had no care for church. I had absolute no care. I would literally dress up wanting you to know that I didn't want to go. I would dress up in a sweatshirt and joggers. I just did not care for it at all. So it was 6th grade, 7th grade, now going into 7th grade year. My God, I was a terrible girl. Okay, I would cuss so much. I was just in the wrong friend group. My mouth, I cussed so much to the point where teachers would hear me and give me detention in Saturday school. And I didn't understand why. Like, I'm like, everyone else cusses. Like, why are you getting me in trouble? And I had the worst cussing mouth. That was just so unholy. That was just bad. And I hated my mom. I did not like my mom at all. And I didn't like her because I felt she was very controlling. I felt like I couldn't go out with my friends and I couldn't do anything. And I understand now, she just wanted to protect me, and especially with everything she went through and had me at a young age, she just didn't want me to go through the things that she went through. But I honestly resented and hated my mother because I didn't want to talk to her. I didn't want to hang out with her. I would literally give her attitude all the time. I was constantly angry, and I really didn't know why. Like, I was just always moody throughout my entire childhood. I was just moody all the time. I was angry, and anything would just trigger me. I had anger issues for real. And one day during church, I remember what I was literally wearing this day. I was wearing a burgundy sweatshirt and gray joggers, and I remember the pastor calling for the altar call, and he was like, do you want to give Jesus to your life? And my heart literally started racing. I felt the Lord telling me, go up there, go up there, go up there. My heartstrings were tugging. He was tugging them. And my flesh did not want to. I'm like, nope, no. I don't want to give my life to Christ. I don't. But a part of me also did, because I just wasn't happy. So I actually did end up giving my life to the Lord that day, 7th grade year. And honestly, that day, it really did change me. I felt free. I literally felt different. I was like, okay, I just accepted my Lord and Savior. And okay, that was like towards the end of 7th grade year. Now we're going to 8th grade, and I just knew I had to like leave my friends. Like, going into middle school, I started hanging out with the wrong people. These type of people were into drugs. They would just cuss all the time. They wanted to fight all the time. Although I never did drugs. One time I tried doing weed. I literally tried one time, and I think I did it wrong. Like, literally in the girls' bathroom, 7th grade year, I tried smoking marijuana because I wanted to, because all my friends were doing it, and I honestly don't even think I did it right, for real. And I never touched drugs again after that. So I knew 8th grade year, I just had to like leave all my friends. So I literally did, like, I practically isolated myself. I was like, I can't be around these people. Like, they aren't good influence to me. So I really did. Every day during lunch, I would actually go into my next period's class and just be in there. Like, I remember every day during lunch, I would actually go into my English class and just, be in there, because I didn't have friends. And I really did have to keep myself away. And I remember times I would actually bring my Bible and just read it there in like the courtyard. It was tough. And as a young girl, middle school year, actually, before I gave my life to Christ, during middle school, and I actually believe 6th grade too, probably, I literally would send nudes to guys. on Snapchat. Let's be so real. I know so many girls that probably done this during middle school and definitely during high school, but I think it's just so crazy. As like a 12, 13-year-old, you're sending nudes. I literally was, and I was just constantly talking to guys during middle school in my 7th grade year when I wasn't like when I hadn't given myself to Christ yet. And yeah, honey. Going into high school, I honestly was still like, I didn't have any friends. Like, I knew a lot of people knew me, but I didn't have anybody. Like, I would try to hang out with people, but it wouldn't click. Like, I couldn't make friends, and it was pretty sad. It really was pretty sad because I didn't have any friends, and it hurt me because I'm like, I don't have anybody, you know? And honestly, at that time, during high school, all of high school, I was pretty lukewarm. Like, I would proclaim that I was a Christian and that I love Jesus, but I didn't live a lifestyle that was holy to him. I was still trying to like talk to guys. I was getting their attention. I would literally make out with guys. No, it was just, it was nothing a Christian girl should be doing. And I had liked this guy, and I was actually talking to this guy, and probably too deep talking to him, if you know what I mean. Like, you just talk about your future, talk about all this. I've done that so many times. The amount of times I talked to a guy and thought he was the one, honey, do not let your emotions or your feelings lead you. I've learned that way too many times. But anyways, it happened again after like the 100th time. I literally thought this guy was the one, and he literally went to my church too. So one time I overheard that this girl goes to this certain school, and I overheard that the guy that I had a crush on and that I was talking to, like, he could pick her up, and like after school, since their schools were closed. I'm telling you, I had terrible jealousy. I was such a jealous person. I don't know where it came from, but I was super jealous. Like, it was terrible. Because of jealousy, I did this. Because of jealousy, I literally told my mom, I want to change schools. Like, I want to go to this certain school. And this school actually offered college credit, so I'm just like, this is perfect. Now, the guy that I was talking to can pick me up now. It was bad. And I actually did switch schools my senior year because of it. And then I ended up breaking it off with the guy. But honestly, that school, like, I became a whole country girl. I got college credit. Like, it benefited me. It really did. Yeah, I switched schools because of jealousy. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? What the spirit of jealousy will make you do. That's wild. But anyways, it's senior year, and you know, time to start applying for colleges. So I'm applying to a whole bunch of colleges in California, and I just don't know what college to go to. I knew what I wanted to do. I want to become a naturopathic doctor, and I wanted to major in nutrition. I just didn't know what college I wanted to go to. And I remember this one time I came across this girl who went to Penn State University, and I've never heard of it, and I just was like, what is it gonna hurt me to look it up? So I just looked it up, and I didn't think anything of it. I was just looking through it, and then me and my mom actually got invited to this service, and the man that was preaching actually called me up and began to prophesy over me how my mother has been praying to the Lord, like, to pay off my college and for everything to get paid for. And he was just prophesying over me how he sees all these books around me. And we ended up doing this prophetic act that I was just gonna jump into it. And we did this prophetic act, and during the entire time he was prophesying over me, I kept hearing Penn State, Penn State, Penn State, Penn State. No joke. And I was like, okay, this is the Lord talking. Absolutely the Lord talking. Because I only looked at Penn State once, maybe twice, and I just didn't think anything of it. I'm like, it's literally across the country. Like, I don't got money for that. So after that happened, after I literally kept hearing Penn State, I literally applied to Penn State. And from that day forward, I just wanted to go to Penn State. I had no idea why. I just wanted to go to Penn State because the Lord literally put it in my mind, like, okay, we want to go to Penn State. And the program I actually applied for was pretty cool. So, anyways, so a couple months roll around and I'm like, if it's God's will, I'll get into it. This is what happened. This is what happened. Tell me this wasn't the Lord. I got accepted into no college in California. None. Besides one. I only got accepted into a university around my hometown and a Penn State University. It was literally the Lord. I was like, what? So, you know, getting ready, getting all the things ready to go to college, you know, buying all the things, and me and my mom in the summer go to an orientation, and me and my lukewarmness knew that it was just so off in that town. Like, there was just no joy, no sunshine. There was absolute none. It was complete culture shock. Even my mom was all like, this place is weird. Like, no one smiles at you. No one makes eye contact with you. It was just, it was weird. It was just weird, okay? And when I came back home like that, me and my mom were like, it was just weird. That's all we had to say. Like, it was just off. Like, there was like no peace about it either. But now it's time to go to college, and I got my plane ticket. I got all my suitcases packed up. I'm gonna move across the country, and I literally was in the car crying. Like, I didn't want to go to Penn State. And my mom literally told me, she was like, if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. I'm like, I have to go. You literally paid all this money for me to go. I have to go. I cannot go. I have to go. And we were literally on our way to the airport, and I was just crying. I really didn't want to go. But I knew I had to go. I don't know why. I just knew I had to go and I had to do this. And my mom literally told me in the house before we went on the road, she was all like, if you ever want to come back, you just tell me and we'll bring you back home. So I'm in Penn State and I'm there and I'm super lonely. I literally was crying every single day because I was not happy there. It was complete culture shock. I was like, why am I here? Like, I'm not even happy here. I was literally crying every day. I didn't want to talk to my parents. I didn't want to talk to my siblings. I just literally want to be alone. Like, I just want to cry every day. And I literally remember my birthday is in August, so I was celebrating my 18th birthday alone, and I did not want to talk to anybody. I'm like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to no one. And it was crazy because throughout that entire time, I was praying to God. I was anointing my dorm, and I didn't know why I was there. I really didn't, because I was super depressed. And even in my lukewarmness at the time, like, I just knew, like, that place wasn't for me, because I remember attending this, like, Christian club thing, and it was just so off. It really was. I have no words, but it honestly, it messed me up. It messed me up, but it messed me up for the glory of God. That's for sure. To testify what the Lord can do in your life. So after a month, no joke, 30 days, I literally went back home. I literally told my mom, like, I want to come back home. I want to come back home. I can't do this anymore. No joke. So literally after a month of being in Penn State, I packed up my bags and left. But even being on the plane, I started crying. I'm like, God, am I even doing the right thing? Like, I feel like I almost like failed, because I'm leaving college. Like, I just went across the country for really no reason. And coming back home, I literally thought I was gonna be happy. I'm like, this is gonna solve all my problems. Like, depression's gonna leave me. And seriously, no. Coming back home did not bring me any joy. During that time, I became like, I got into this rut of just mindlessly scrolling on my phone, like, every day. I literally became a couch potato. No joke. I was on the couch scrolling and scrolling because I wanted to numb away that depression. I literally didn't even want to admit that I was depressed during that time. Like, I didn't understand, like, I'm home. Why am I not happy anymore? This should bring me joy now. Like, I'm home. I'm not in Pennsylvania anymore. And it didn't. It really didn't. And then October came around, and senior year during the summer, I did some things that I shouldn't have done towards my friends, and my friends ended up finding out. And that friendship broke off again, and I was low-key kind of in the back of my head scared, like, am I gonna get suicidal again? Because the last time me and my best friend in elementary school, I became suicidal. I'm like, this cannot happen. But the thing is, right after that, I lost my identity. I didn't know who I was anymore. After me and my friends broke off in October, and I didn't know who I was anymore, because I truly did find my identity in my friends, because I began to dress like them, I began to act like them, I began to want the things that they had, and I literally was questioning myself. I'm like, who am I? I literally did not know who I was, and it was a very dangerous place for me, because I was like, I'm not happy, I don't know who I am anymore. And through all this, I'm still going to church, and I'm lukewarm, and I just had no identity, I have no purpose, I feel like I just screwed up everything. Honestly, I was like, okay, like, I was just kind of over everything. I was like, what's the point? I never got suicidal, but I was like, or actually, no, I never did get suicidal, but I was like, what's the point? Like, I just like screwed everything up. So then my mom, during this entire time, I think, when did she start being, she actually joined this mentorship by Jenny Weaver. It's called the Core Group. It's such an amazing mentorship. It's truly changed me and my family's life. It's insane. But I remember my mom was gonna go to a retreat, the core group retreat in December, and my mom asked me like, hey, do you want to go? And I honestly really didn't want to go, but I also like didn't care if I went. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, you know, and because it was in Florida. Like, who doesn't want to go to Florida, right? So anyways, I go there not really expecting much. I was just going just because my mom made me, and it was just super insane, because there was this girl that I saw in line, and I literally just thought, she was like, wow, she's so beautiful, like, I want to sit next to her. No joke, I sat next to her during the retreat. It was so insane. But these words she said to me, like, she literally started telling me and my mom her testimony, and her testimony absolutely marked me, because if it wasn't for her testimony, I don't know if I would have rededicated my life to the Lord that day. But she said these words, and I actually have it pinned on my Instagram because I posted about it, and it completely changed me. She said, you can be the prettiest person, but when you feel worthless, you make worthless decisions. And that literally stuck with me. I was like, whoa, because I literally felt like that. Like, I knew I was beautiful, but I just felt like I was just screwing everything up. I had no worth. I literally felt like I had no worth because I was just doing worthless things, you know, worthless decisions like she was talking about. And so I remember during the retreat, during the worship, like, I just wanted an encounter from God. I just wanted to be touched from God. And this lady just comes up to me. She doesn't even touch me or anything, but she was all like, fire of the Lord, fire of the Lord. She's speaking in tongues and everything. And I'm telling you, I felt the fire of the Lord on my back so strongly. I was marked for real. I was just so marked. So then we go through the entire retreat the first night. The second, then the morning time comes, and there's another service, another session during that time, and they announced that they were going to baptize people after it. And everyone was getting baptized, and I knew prior to this that they were going to baptize people because they had a sign-up sheet, and I didn't want to get baptized. I really didn't. And my mom kept telling me, do you want to get baptized? Do you want to get baptized? And I'm like, no, I don't want to. And she told me, you should get baptized. And I was like, no, I don't want to. And keep in mind, I was ready. I had my hair done. I had my makeup done. I had brand new clothes on too. And I was like, no, I don't want to. And literally it was coming towards the end of the baptisms. And I told the Lord, I'm like, God, if I'm getting in here, if I'm getting in this pool with my makeup done, my hair done, with all my clothes on, I cannot be the same. I need to leave different, God. I cannot be the same. Like, I desperately wanted God to change me if I was getting baptized. And I'm telling you, after that baptism, I was never the same. I'm telling you, lukewarmness, depression, that depression I was going through where I had no identity, it left me. That retreat, the Lord marked me at that retreat. It was just, I have no words for it, because if it wasn't for the Lord putting it on my mom's heart to take me to Florida, despite how I felt, despite what I was going through, despite what I wanted to do, he had it planned for me to go to Florida, I believe in 2022 of December, to go to Florida, or was it, yeah, 2022, to go to Florida in December and rededicate my life. I've never been the same. The Lord he's delivered me, set me free from depression, from suicide. And honestly, after that retreat in January, we ended up going to another retreat, and I was seeing so many people getting delivered, getting demons casted out of them, and I knew I was still dealing with jealousy. And I'm telling you, I hated the feeling of jealousy. Like, it would literally make my heart feel heavy and just ugly, and I knew it just was not of the Lord. And I remember telling the Lord, I was on my knees, I'm like, God, why am I not getting delivered? Like, when are you gonna deliver me? It was and he literally told me, I would deliver you in your room. And I'm not kidding you, I'm not joking you. The Lord's hand was on me. 4 days later, I was back home, and 4 days later, after that retreat, I believe it was 4 days later, or sometime in between that week of being home, I remember being on this call with the elderly woman, and the lady was just like, I have a word for you, Nadine. And she started praying for me, and I literally just felt like I had to get on my knees. So I get on my knees, no joke, I'm not kidding you, here on this floor. The Lord delivered me from jealousy. Literally the day before, I was like encountering jealousy so heavily, and that morning I was crying out to God. I'm like, God, I don't want this anymore, take it away from me. And that morning, the Lord met me. I literally started gagging into a bag. I was gagging. Literally, this demon of jealousy came out of me that day, and the Lord delivered me from jealousy. I'm telling you, the Lord did a thing that I honestly was dealing for my entire life. And the Lord just, he amazed me how he literally told me he was going to change me, that he was going to deliver me in my room, and he did it within a week. Do not forget the promises that the Lord tells you, because I'm telling you, the Lord will do it when he is not a man that shall lie. And the Lord has just delivered me from, honestly, seeking people pleasing. He's delivered me from depression, from suicide, from rejection. He's just delivered me from so much, and he absolutely marked me and changed me. I no longer live a lukewarm lifestyle, but now I am on fire for the Lord, and the Lord Jesus is he's just so good. And please do not be lukewarm. Like, if you get anything from this testimony video, is lukewarmness gets you nowhere. It just puts you in a deeper hole, and it brings no joy, really. Like, I honestly, how can you like just proclaim Jesus and say you're a Christian and you go to church and you love Jesus, yet you don't even do anything or act as the feet and hands of Jesus? Like, you really aren't even acting as a child of God. You're really acting as a child of the devil. So I just hope you get out of all this is to pursue the Lord wholeheartedly and not halfway through, because living for Jesus is the best decision you will ever make, because a lukewarm lifestyle is not the way to go. Seeking after boys' attention will never fulfill the longing and that desperation for love, true love, because true love is Jesus, and true love is only found in Jesus, and nothing can fulfill you or satisfy you the way Jesus does. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait for the upcoming videos that the Lord will help me do, and I'm just super excited for what the Lord's gonna do here in the Secret Glory.